Hey guys, it's me Matthew again. Today I'm going to be doing another audio. And this time, this particular story isn't based or inspired by any other story. It's purely my own. It's called A Tomcat's Happiness. And this one is a bit more easier for me to read this time. And this time it has a bit more additional audio sensations. And you'll see what I mean. But anyways, I truly do hope you all like this story. So please, if you like it, subscribe, press the ding bell down below. But if you're not new here, not subscribed, please subscribe, press the ding bell down below, as well as go over to my community posts. You don't know what you may find, as well as go over to check out my previous audio series known as Anime/Dragon Knight Unlimited. But anyways, let's move on to the audio story. Chapter 2, Our Training. The morning struck and we were done eating our food. Training began. It started out as a VR tactical simulation training to real-life tactical training and weapons training in both VR and real life. There was even silent and physical training, meaning one hell of a workout, and so much more. We did different versions of this every week. It was insane, but we got used to it in week 5. We then got started on planning out an operation to attack our country's vampire hunters' headquarters and figure out how to infiltrate. Sabria asked, "So how are we going to break through their defenses and kill them all?" Gracia said, "By doing the storm technique that will kill anyone who comes out after the alarm goes off." And as they go out, we slowly move in until we reach the building, then go crazy but careful about killing them all except those who aren't trying to kill you, because we can use them to get a message to the other vampire hunters or just release them. Deanne said because they may not be vampire hunters, so they can be let loose depending on who they are in case if they're dangerous. Sabria said, "Okay, understood. Have you checked out these 10 areas, including the other 2 that have been abandoned?" Gracious said, "Yes, I have, but they're just outposts, not actual headquarters of the vampire hunters, though we have been tracking their movements to see where it is. We may have a way to get through in this area here in this forest." Sabria said, "Texas has the most dangerous forest ever, huh? How interesting, but smart. Do you know where the entrance is? Where you lost who you've been tracking?" Grace and Deanne said, "We have an idea." Deanne took over the conversation, "But we know where we lost them. There are 10 entrances that are hidden in the mountain that is there, but we don't know how to get in." I said, "Allow me to deal with getting in on one of them. You just need to seal up the 9 exits to keep them from escaping." Croatia said, "I have just a thing to make sure of that." She went to her room to grab something and said, "I always bring these in case of emergencies or if the job requires them, but these go to the trick." Gracia had a piece of dynamite, and Sabria said, "Well, that should do more than enough, but do you have any concrete to finish the job? Deanne said, I own the company throughout the states, so you don't have anything to worry about. Sabria said, okay then, he was ready for a field trip. Gracia and Deanne laughed. Then Deanne said, well then, let's get packed and ready to go while I make a few calls. Sabria said, yes ma'am. Sabria and I helped Gracia as well as Deanne pack for our trip to Texas from Virginia. When we were done, we got in the military jeep and headed out. We ate some dried fruit on our way to Texas, but after an hour and 34 minutes, we stopped at a park called New Market Battlefield State Historical Parks. Sabria asked, hey Gracia, why are we going here? Gracia said, it's a road trip. It wouldn't be a road trip if we didn't have fun. Plus, it's only a hike. Ian said, yeah, plus everyone needs some fresh air from time to time. Sabria said, okay then, I won't argue with that. We drove into a parking lot space and got out. There were old white and brick red houses in a reasonable amount of space. There were even white picket fences, but overall a beautiful amount of space for a piece of American history. Sabria said, I haven't been here since Mom switched jobs. Gracia said, that is sad. Deanne said, well, that's good as long as we're having a good time. We're good. Because then we know we're not the only ones who are enjoying this place by ourselves. Sabria said, I understand. You just don't want us feeling left out. Gracia said, you got it. She smiled. Sabria said, well, there isn't very much here to look at in this big place. Deanne said, yeah, but let's walk around the rest of the ground before we continue on. Sabria said, okay. We walked for 15 minutes until we got back to the jeep and drove off. Almost 2 hours later, we drove into a place called Tinker Creek Greenway Holland's Trailhead. Deanne said, welcome to Tinker Creek Greenway Holland's Trailhead, Sabria. Sabria said, this place is a lot more beautiful than that old battlefield. Gracia said, it does, and we're going to run along the whole trail. Sabria asked, and how big is this place? Deanne said, oh, Sabria dear, we're going to run like normal folk so we can see and really enjoy the scenery. Sabria said, okay then, let's get going. They all laughed. Then we drove into a parking space and got out. Gracia said, okay, now in 3, 2, 1, go! We started running amongst the trail, enjoying the forest breeze and smell next to the creek. The forest was nice, beautiful, chilly, relaxing, calm, and overall a perfect day for a run. We turned every corner, staying on the trail until we all stopped to drink our waters before we continued. After 5 minutes, we began to run again. We passed bridges above us and across them. This place is magnificent. Even though we saw buildings for most of the run, we even passed the train bridge above us, but overall we were having a great time. The wildlife here was great. I could see so many great who tempt me to hunt. I almost hunted a damn duck. After a mile in, we stopped at a seat and sat down for a break. Sabria asked, "Are you two enjoying yourselves?" Croatia asked, "Are you kidding?" Dan said, "We're supposed to be asking you that question." And yes, we are. This place is so beautiful. I mean, look at the stream flowing. It's so beautiful that I want to be in it for a swim. Gracia said, "For me, it's the sound of nature all around us, with the chilling breeze coming over our faces." She sighed, "It's perfect." Sabria said, "I'm glad. I take runs all the time at the forest where we live." Croatia asked, "You're an athlete?" Sabria said, "Leader of the track club and team. We've even won every tournament because of how both determined my team is and how much they look up to me for how fast I am compared to the other team leaders of the other schools who've lost to us." Dan asked, "I'm guessing Sabor is just as fast as you or even faster?" Sabria said, "He's just as fast as me since we learn how to get faster from when one of us takes the lead to the point where we end up being neck to neck on the track." Croatia said, "Impressive. And this was before or after he turned you into a vampire?" Sabria said, "Both actually. He even used a technique that I have been using since second grade, but now that we have our counterweights, we can go even faster and take those sharp turns now." Deanne said, "I guess so." They all giggled. Then Croatia said, "Okay then, let's keep going. We still have a bit more running to do before we get back to the Jeep." Abrea and Deanne said, "Okay." We ran again for almost 2 hours before we got back to the Jeep. Sabria said, "That was a fun run." Croatia said, "Yet you both don't seem winded like Deanne and I." Sabria said, "We've learned how to avoid it so we can run as far as we can without getting the option of the possibility of being captured." Deanne said, "Well, that makes sense. We're used to this." Sabria said, "Yep." She smiled, and Croatia said, "Well, let's get in the Jeep and get going so we can get to the next location." Sabria and Deanne said, "Okay." We got in the Jeep and drove off while we ate some food. We drove for 2 hours and stopped at a place nearby to stay for the night that has a public bathroom to use for 24 hours. After we went to the bathroom, we ate our dinner, then we watched a movie on a projector facing the wall. The movie was called F9, but I didn't really care of watching it. I just slept in Sabria's lap the whole time. I don't even know what happened after that, but I just fell asleep.